Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? It is day 28 of RPG A Day 2017. Day 28. Can't believe we've gone pretty much through 4 weeks already of this. Been a lot of fun. So, our question for August 28th is what film/series is the biggest source of quotes in your group? This is a question I can't really answer very well, so I am going to kind of dovetail this into one of the alternate questions. So I can be really flippant about this. Why? Because I don't have a stable local face-to-face group. I've been kind of like an adjunctive member, if that, of a local group here, which is kind of in a state of flux anyway. And, I want to get a smaller group together. I've talked about that already, maybe with some different intentions. Not even maybe. I want some different intentions. So I haven't been a member of a group that we, constantly having some quotes. I could say, oh, yes, we're quoting Jaws all the time. Likewise, I've played with some people online. I've had a lot of fun doing that. But I was thinking about it. I just couldn't say that we've quoted some particular film or series or whatever. I can't go in and say, well, we're quoting a lot of Battlestar. Or, your insert your favorite IP here. We're quoting a lot of Alien. We're not. That stuff has come from all over the place. But one of the things I thought about as I read this question was that's not, let me get to my point here. The alternate question I can use is, what do you want out of an RPG experience? And one of the things I definitely do not want out of an RPG experience is just for it to be so surface and so out of character that what we're doing is quoting intellectual properties to each other all the time. I've mentioned that in a few videos already over time. I actually had a discussion with a guy at the local game shop here. The closest one to me, and there's a few that I've looked at in terms of trying to figure out like a place that maybe I can meet some people or get some people to go sit down and play and have like a bit of a vetting process and whatnot. And he's talking about a particular game that goes on there in one night, and he said, well, out of 6 hours of play, there's really probably 2 hours of actual play going on. The rest is just kind of BSing, and I'm like, well, it's not really attractive to me. It's not really what I'm looking for in terms of an experience. And so anyway, I decided talk about what would I really want out of an RPG experience. The one thing he did mention that, which I thought is hysterical, it's really kind of neither here nor there, but I like it anyway, is he's talking about being involved in a game, and he actually made himself a little random table of quotes from, I forget what the movie was, but every time that it seems like his character ought to say something really funny or oddball, he rolls a die, and that's his quote. That's hysterical. I wouldn't do that, but to me, like that, to a person that grew up with those random tables for everything, I thought that was hysterical. I gave him a thumbs up for that. That was definitely kudos for that one, Bobby. But anyhow, let's go on with what this is really about. What do I want out of an RPG experience? Because it is not necessarily that. And so I've talked about stuff related to this. So I'm only going to go with a few things here. But what I'm really looking for in an RPG experience, because I had to think about this for a minute. I'm looking for that transcendent moment. Where I'm no longer me, you're no longer you, the game master is no longer just the game master, and we all become our characters. It's not just us sitting at a table talking about this. We start to turn into them or inhabit them. I'm not talking about in a creepy way, but there's this transcendent moment where for me, I achieve immersion. We're in the zone, we're in the game. That's what I'm looking for, out of my RPG experience. And it's one of the things that I take some notes so I didn't forget what I said, because it seemed very profound at the moment as I was jotting it down. But it's like when I look at the other players, I look at you and I don't see you anymore. Not just you, I see you, but I see the other character. I see Brenson, or I see Chuck, or I see Briscoe, or I see Jean-Marie, or I see Martin, or Midnight, or Doc Hollister. Or if I'm looking at the game master, I see the Overlord, I see the Nazi Colonel. I see other people. We become our characters. We start to inhabit that, and we achieve this sense of immersion. So, there's more going on, and that's the moment I live for. What I really want is that interlude of time, however big it is. Because I hope it's not just a moment. I hope it's just most of the game session, where the game world becomes real for us, and it's not just something we're talking about in a very real kind of business. It sounds all mystical, but it's really not. But that moment, it's something we're inhabiting. We start to discover what happens. We're playing to find out. We're playing to find out not necessarily what the game world reality is. We're just playing to find out what happens as all of these people with free agency, all the different characters and that are player characters and the different NPCs, as they start to interact with each other, what actually happens? And one of the things is that why like things like movie quotes or a lot of out of character talk starts to really irritate me after a while. And I don't know about you, but I've sat at game tables where people talk about their characters or talk about how cool their characters are, but they're not actually doing anything. It's just all talk, and it's not talk about who the characters are. It's talk about their stats. It's talk about this character they've built. It's talking about the system. It's talking about movies. They're talking about all kinds of stuff, but what's going on right there at the table. And I don't want to be talking about it. I want to be doing it. And the closest thing I could think of in terms of an analogy is I love live music. I love going to see live bands, but it's always a little bit difficult for me because I look at somebody playing, I look at the band playing. I always want to be up there doing it. I always want to be up there actually playing the music. I don't know what it is, but I've been like that ever since I was a kid. I want to be involved. I don't want to be talking about the game. I want to be in the game. I don't want to be talking about, or I want to be watching or, the drag race. I want to be the guy behind the wheel. So for me, I'm looking for that moment, of an RPG experience. I don't want to be talking about all this cool stuff. I want to be doing it. I want you to be doing it. I want us to be involved in the zone, in the moment. And if a movie quote happens to slip in, that's great, but I want it to come from the lips of my character, not from my lips, so to speak. And yeah, do I want fun and humor? You bet, because I love to laugh. I think I made a video or two about that. I like when we break down, we can't really speak for a moment. I love all that stuff. If you watch the games I've been involved in, like, on Hangouts, we're laughing all the time. We're joking, we're hamming it up. That's part of it. But I want that immersive moment. And there's other things I want, like those, I hate to call them epic, but those moments where, you have an uncanny thing happen where it's a long shot and like, I can't believe you made it. And there's those moments too, like you want some moments of just sticking it to the man, whatever your character is particularly good at, whether it's fisticuffs or sneaking around or, social, fast talking or bluffing or, whatever the heck it is that they do. There's moments where your characters really excel at that. You stick it to the man. You do what you're really good at. It's epic in some way, shape, or form. I want that kind of experience as well. And I also enjoy those unbelievable failures every once in a while. Like, I can't believe you missed it. I can't believe that just happened. And some fun one-liners. That's awesome too. But the quotes I love the best aren't really the movie quotes. It's those moments that we look back on as a group and quote to each other and relive. But those quotes, those moments, those things that we're reliving and quoting back to each other, those aren't from a movie. Those aren't from a film series. They're not from a book. Those are things that comprise our own collaborative intellectual property because we were there. We were the people that said it. We were the people that did it. And now we're looking back fondly upon that, saying, wasn't that awesome? And we quote what Halsey said. We quote what Chuck said. We quote what Briscoe said or Jean-Marie said. Those are the kind of quotes I love to see in game. Never mind the movie quotes. And yes, I love the movie quotes. I'm a geek and a nerd and all that kind of stuff. But the quotes I want to see, the ones we said originally. So yeah, that's my answer to this question. A little convoluted, but that's what I got.